Well, hey guys, it's Thorzax here. And, okay, one of the things I do through the year, when I'm out and about, I'm at the store or whatever, and I'm buying stuff and I got the wallet out and all that stuff, you accumulate change. Okay, so what I do, I hate change. I hate it. I hate having change in my pocket. I don't know why. I've always been that way. And so when I get home from the store, in fact, a relative of mine knows how I feel about change. I hate change. So what they did is they bought me this little change sorting machine. You press a button, you throw the change in the top of the hopper, and you just press a button, then it sorts it all out. And all you have to do is just add the little pieces of paper, wrappers, and then that's it. You're done. So anyway, I know you can go to Walmart, you can go to a couple other different places that have these change counting machines, but they charge you for that. And this little machine does it just fine. I get out and about and I go to the bank, and I go to the bank at least once a month. And what I do is I just take that bag in there and I put it down once a year and we count it out, and then I put that into a little account that I have. Anyway, so where am I going with this? Okay. I went and did the change thing, went down, cashed it in, and I had some money. Okay, that's money that I never even accounted into my income. You know what I mean? That's money that I felt like I never even had. So what that does is that opens up the door to go and spend it on some impulsive things that I wouldn't normally pick up and go buy. So, a few things that I went out and bought. I'm going to start off with some Amazon things. Now, for those of you who subscribe to his channel, Johnny's Reloading Bench has a really good tutorial on some inexpensive digital scales. And did I need a digital scale? Well, I've got the little Wowie. I mean, he suggested this little turkey quite a while ago, and everybody who's bought one is just like, oh my god, this thing is just dead nuts. I mean, it's right on. It's Old Faithful. It's always on, on the money, and it's easy to calibrate. It just really is a good little scale for the money. I think we bought these for like $12 to $20. I mean, they were amazingly cheap, but they work very well. So anyway, that's Old Faithful, my Wowie scale. Another thing I wanted to bring up, if you do have a digital scale, get yourself a mechanical balancing beam scale. This scale, for instance, I bought, I've had this one forever. I mean, I've had this one, I can't even remember back when, but I've always had this one. And in fact, I've got two other ones just like it. It's the 510 beam scale. Now, it was quite common. You can find these in gun stores, used. You can find them at garage sales, stuff like that. And I think I bought this one used, and I think I paid like $25 for it. And it's been with me ever since, and it is dead nuts. It is right on. And one thing about the 510 scale, it's exactly the same scale mechanically, okay, as the 1010 scale. The 1010 scale has a more sturdier of a base, and it comes with a 500 grain counterweight that you hook onto this little hole here in the end, and then that gives you 1,000 grain capacity to the beam. That's the only difference between the 510 and the 1010 scale made by O-House, sold by RCBS. Another thing too, if you buy one of these and you're not sure whether or not it's on with your check weights and stuff, or if there's a problem with it, you can send it to RCBS, and RCBS will fix it and send it back to you. I mean, they're very good about that. RCBS is a great company. I mean, they maybe not the leader, like other companies as far as their dies and that sort of stuff. However, you can't go wrong with RCBS. You just can't waste your money there. I mean, it's really good stuff. It holds up. Anyway, so let's go back to where I was going with this. I picked up the Lux, okay? This is the Lux Mini, and I picked it up. Now I turned it on, and I went ahead and took it out of the package and everything, and I turned it on, and I love the display. The display is really nice. The controls are really nice, and also you can have an auto-off feature on this where you can turn the auto-off off, and then it'll stay on until the batteries die. I mean, it's really annoying for this little thing, because when you turn it on, it's only gonna stay on for 3 minutes, or 2 minutes, or 1 minute, or 30 seconds, or however long that you've got it set for, and it'll just turn off. I don't even know if this one's, you can set that. I think it's an auto off after about 3 minutes or 180 seconds or something like that. I don't know, but I know it's annoying because you go to turn around to use it and it's off. So that brings me to the next step, okay? Years ago, I bought one of these, okay? And the reason why I bought this is because you can plug this into your UBS outlet on your computer, and then you don't need batteries, and it'll just stay on, okay? But this goes down to, this is tenths of grains, okay? And then this measures in tenths of grains. This measures in 1/100ths of grains. And when you start getting down to 1/100ths of grains, to me, you're outside the scope of what is practical powder measurement. You're not gaining anything by adjusting to the 100ths of grains. That is so small. I mean, that's like ash. I mean, you're weighing ash at that point. So, or dust. You're weighing that. That's how much it weighs. It's when you get down to the hundreds of grain, that's fingerprints and that sort of thing. And I don't need a scale that's that sensitive, or something that goes down that far for reloading purposes. Tenths of grains works just fine. That's within the normal parameters of what we need for reloading. And another thing too, it'll add to your OCD, seeing that extra tenth or hundreds of tenths down there. You'll try to get it perfect all the time, and you really aren't really accomplishing anything at that point. So anyway, that brings up another scale I bought. This is the Brifit scale. This does not have an auto off feature. It'll turn off after 3 minutes. So you leave it on, and it'll turn off after 3 minutes. Now, this also will measure in hundreds of grains. Okay, so we're back down to that OCD thing. If you got OCD, you may not want something like this because it'll screw with you while you're reloading. Because you're always going to try to get it perfect, And, like I said, it's beyond the scope. When you start getting down to hundreds of grains, that's beyond the scope of normal reloading practices. But actually, this was $16, and I took it out of the package, It came with a nice calibration weight. It came with a pair of tweezers, okay? It's got a nice big display. Turn it on there. Let's see what it does here. Turn it on again. Terror. Unit. It's telling me that it's not calibrated, which I totally get it. Anyway, but the display is really nice and big, but the only thing is it's not angled, and so you kind of got to stare over the top of it. But you had to do that with this little guy too. So, and this has a bigger display than this, so it's one of those things where for $16 you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. Like I said, if you think something's fishy about these electronic scales, always have your backup for your beam scale. I mean, that's not going to lie to you. I mean, it won't. So anyway, frivolous things that I have bought with my spare change account that I've saved up. I think actually I skipped it last year because this year I had I had a lot of money in there. I was like, oh my gosh. So I was able to buy a few things. Here's another thing too I wanted to get at. There's another thing that I went ahead and bought. This guy. If you haven't got one of these, bite the bullet and just buy one. I mean, I know they're expensive. At Brownells, these are like $39 or $29 or something. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but it's an assortment of hex screws for scope rings and scope mounts. And I don't know about you, but when you start getting to the 6-40 or 6-48 thread size, it isn't like you can just drive down to Walmart or you can just drive down to Home Depot or Lowe's or the big box store and just go and buy those. You have to go and see a gunsmith or salvage them from other rings and stuff like that you've had in order to make your project work. And I've done that for years. I've done that for years. I've always saved those sort of little screws and stuff in a little box, so I have some. But there's nothing worse than stripping out one of these screws, like the head strips out, or say like for instance you break one off, or whatever, at least you got a replacement screw this way. And there's all kinds of different sizes. It comes as a kit. Yeah, it's got some handy little deals in here. Okay, it comes with little tweezers, right, so you can pick them up. And all the different sizes, and they're all numbered up here for what they are. It also comes with this little jig right here for the different lengths. Okay, so you can stick the screw down in there and you can actually cut the screw off to the length and then finish the end. So that it'll screw in without any problem. That's what this little jig is for. So if you have to custom fit one. Invaluable. It's worth the money. Like I said, I normally probably would not buy this, but I had the money, so I went ahead and picked one up. Money well spent. I wish I would have had this years ago. If I would have just bought this years ago, I would have saved myself a lot of frustration. I just, you're going to remember every time you needed one and you couldn't find it and you had to go get one or salvage one or you had to cut a special one or you had to go to the gunsmith and ask him and hold him up, or whatever, and this is what you need, blah, blah, blah. Just buy one of these. So, leads to another thing, screwdrivers. Now, years ago, when I first started going down the road of match shooting and that sort of thing, I decided to upgrade my screwdriver set. And I bought this Grace screwdriver set. Yeah, this has just been invaluable, okay? It's got every single screwdriver that you need for all pistols. Rugers, Colts, and Smith & Wessons. Each one of these has been fitted for each one of those slot sizes. And these, I haven't really checked the price on these, but they are pricey. They are. And I'm not trying to spend anybody's money out there. We all live on budgets. We all live on what we can afford. We've got kids in school or whatever, we're retired or, we're on fixed budgets or whatever. And I like I said, I'm not trying to spend anybody's money. Okay? I'm not saying, hey, you gotta go out and do this and take the big plunge. But having a set of Grace screwdrivers is really nice. They sell them little kits. There's a little kit that you can buy nowadays, comes with a hammer and all that. You don't need the hammer or the punches or anything. You just need the screwdrivers. That's the most important thing in the whole kit. Which moves me on to something else. Okay, now you have your standard mechanics screwdrivers. And the biggest problem with these is the tip. The way that the tip is ground, okay? That ground, it's ground in a V type. fashion. And the reason why, mechanic screwdrivers are made like this is because there's a variety of screws that you're going to run into as a mechanic, okay, and working on cars or motorcycles or whatever, and that sort of thing. And this is kind of like a universal thing. But it is not the best choice, okay, to me. As far as working on your motorcycle, working on your car, these are fine. Or you got some sort of wood project that you're using, these are fine. But as far as guns, you don't want to use one of these. Because you know what's going to happen? Those gun screws are made precision, and the tip of that screwdriver is in a wedge shape, and so when you put torque on it, it'll pull and twist, and it'll ruin the top of the screw. You don't want to use these on guns. Don't use these on guns. It's death to gun screws. So anyway, to save you a little money here, there's something that I've researched now at work and also here at home. I have an electrician's tool bag, and in that tool bag I have all my electrician stuff. I have my multimeter, my Megger, my circuit testers. I've got all my stuff, and my fuses, my fuse tools, all that stuff, connectors, crimps and crimpers, and you name it. I've got all that stuff in there, and I keep all my electrician stuff, from getting mixed in with my mechanical type tools. So with that, when you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, or if you have a Pratt Electric, or you have an electric outlet place that sells like connectors, and that's all they do is they sell plug boxes, they sell cable by the reel, they sell it's an electrician's outlet. They breaker boxes, they switch cans, stuff like that, and fuses, great big huge industrial fuses and stuff, and you go down there and you see those guys. Take a look at the tool section, and when you go over to the tool section, like I said, in Lowe's or even Harbor Freight, because that's where I got these, take a look at their electrician screwdrivers. Now the electrician screwdriver set, I bought this one, and I think it was $7. And these tips on these are ground just like the ones on Grace's are. And you can doctor these up with a file, and get yourself some magnifying glasses and doctor those up with a stone, and you can make these fit gunsmithing screws, okay? But you want to be careful with these, because these don't have the hardness, and neither does the Grace either. Grace are not hardened steel, but as long as that tip fits that screwdriver, you'd be amazed, or that screw, you'd be amazed how much torque you can get on something and break something loose without having hardened tools. But yeah, this whole kit was like $7, and these are all flat tip screwdrivers. They're all hollow ground, and they're shaped like this. Okay, they taper out and then they shape to a certain thickness, and they're made for certain screws. So that could save you some money if you don't have the money to go out and buy some Grace ones or whatever. Another thing that I have decided to go ahead and get, every time I go to the gunsmith, or every time that I'm around a guy that is really into making pistols or doing his own gunsmithing and stuff, just about every one of those guys have one of those Brownells mag tip screwdriver sets. Those are expensive. I mean, like crazy expensive. I mean, it's like $140 just for that kit and the driver and then all the bits. Now, I went ahead and bought one. It should be in the mail today. I don't know. But it has every single tip, every single type of screw, fastener, whatever type of thing in it. Okay, and it comes with the driver and the whole bit. I bought the top of the line deluxe kit, and you know, like I said, normally I wouldn't have bought that. But like I said, the whole thing with your change, and you know, you save this money and you don't even know it's there, and by the time you go down there and you cash it all in, you'd be surprised how much money's there. And that's the way I do it. When it comes to the frivolous things that I wouldn't normally buy, that's the fun that I go to. So anyway, I'm going to cut this short. Wanted to go ahead and fill you in on a few things. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video.